Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for commenting my videos. Welcome to morning inspiration motivational meeting. We're reading world scriptures and we get to the chapter, the Ten Commandments. So let's read it carefully and get the vibe to tune up to God's trends in our daily life every hour, every second. The Ten Commandments are known the world over as the base of the Jewish and Christian ethical values. Yet similar lists of ethical principles are found in most religions. The Quran contains more than one list of ethical uh, precepts that has been termed the Islamic de- Decalogue. Jesus, in the Sermon on the Mount, commented that these commandments are not merely laws to be obeyed, but should be lived from the heart. In Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism, there are lists of the 10 charges of the 10 precepts for monks and lay people. And these are further condensed into list of five universal dharmas called the Samanya Dharma. Another comparable list is the Buddhist Eightfold Path, as befitting the Eastern perspective, most include inward elements, self-control, and generating a heart of compassion. Confucianism has its own list of five. The five relation with a distinctive emphasis on the relationship rather than laws. Father Moon himself has promulgated the three commandments of the kingdom of heaven. Keep purity, do not violate the rights of other, and do not steal. They can be compared to the commandments specifically against adultery, murder, and theft. But the second of these goes deep into matters of heart, reflecting the Confucianist emphasizes on proper relationship as well as Jesus' teaching on the interior aspect of the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other God before me. You shall not make for yourself a graven image or make a likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who take the name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your manservant or your maidservant, or your cattle, or the sojourner who is with your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor your father and your mother, that your day may belong in the land which the Lord your God give you. You should not kill, you should not commit adultery, you should not steal, you should not bear false witness against your neighbor. You should not convert your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant, or his maidservant, or his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor. Exodus 21 to 17. Yeah, so interesting in today's world. If you watching news and the politicians, he is very simple advice for them. You should not bear the false witness against your neighbor. Oh my God, so much of this on TV. Say came, I will receive that God has made a sacred duty for you. Ascribe nothing illegal with him. Be good to your parents. Kill not your children on a plea of want. We provide sustenance for you and for them. Approach not the Lord behavior, whether open or in secret. Take not life which God has made sacred, except by way of justice and law. Thus does he command you, that you may learn wisdom, and approach not the property of the orphan, except to improve it until he attains the age of maturity. Give sorry, give full measure and weight in justice. No burden do we place on any soul but that which it can bear. And if you give your word, do you it justice even if a near relative is concerned, and fulfill your obligation before God. Does does he command you that you may remember? Verify this is my straight path, follow it, and do not follow other paths which will separate you from his path. Does he command you that you may be righteous? Quran 6, 151, 53. Seven precepts were commanded to the children of Noah: social law, civil justice, to refrain from blasphemy, idolatry, adultery, bloodshed, robbery, and eating fresh cut from a living animal. Talmud, Sanhedrin 56a, Judaism. You have heard that it was said to the men of old, you should not kill, and whoever kills shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be liable to judgment. Wherever insult his brother shall be liable to the council, and whatever say you fool should be liable to the hell of fire. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who look at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Yes, so interesting. Jesus inspired to us. It's very good to our politician and news channel to follow this. And forgiveness, humility, straightforwardness, purity, truthfulness, self-restraint, austerity, renunciation, non-attachment, and chastity with one spouse are the 10 duties. Yeah, very simple. Tad Vardha Sutra 9.6 Chinese. Non-killing, no longer stealing, forsaking the wives of others. Refrain completely from false, divisive, harsh, and senseless speech, forsaking conversionist, harmful intent, and the views of nihilists. There are the 10 white paths of action. Their opposites are black. Nagarjuna, Precious, Galand 989 Buddhist. Non-violence, truthfulness, not stealing, purity, control of the sense. This is the brief, says Manu, in the Dharma for all the four castes. Laws of Manu 1063 Hinduism. The noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering is the noble eightfold path, namely right view, right aspiration, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. What is right view? Knowledge of suffering, knowledge of the arising of suffering, knowledge of the cessation of suffering, knowledge of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called right view. What is right aspiration? Aspiration for renunciation, aspiration for non-malevolence, aspiration for harmlessness. This is the called right aspiration. What is right speech? Uh, Refrain from lying speech, refrain from slanderous speech, refrain from harsh speech, refrain from gossip. This is called right speech. What is the right action? Refrain from violence against creature, refrain from talking that has not been given, refrain from hmm, refrain from taking what has not been given, refrain from going wrongly among the saints' pleasures. This is the called right action. What is right livelihood? A disciple of the noble ones, getting rid of wrong mode of livelihood, make his living by a right mode of livelihood. This is called right livelihood. What is right effort? A monk generates desire, effort stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strive for the non-arising of evil skill states that had not arisen. For the getting rid of evil unkilled state that have arisen, for the rising of skilled states that have not arisen, for the maintenance and completion of skilled state that has had arisen. This is called right effort. What is right mindfulness? A monk fares along contemplating the body in the body, the feelings in the feelings, the mind in the mind, the mental states in mental states are them. Clearly conscious of them, mindful of them, so as to control the consciousness and dejection in the world. This is a called right mindfulness, and that is right concentration among aloof from the pleasures of the sense, aloof from unskilled states of mind, enters and abides in the first meditation, which is accompanied by initial thought and destructive thought, is born of aloofness, is rapturous and joyful. By allowing initial thought and discursive thought with the mind objectively tranquilized and filled on one point, he enters on and abide in the second meditation, which is devoid of initial thought and destructive thought, is born of concentration and is rapturous and joyful. By the fading out of rapture, he enters on the and abides in the third meditation. The fourth meditation, this is called right concentration. Majjhima Nikaya 3, 251, 52, the Eightfold Path Buddhism. There are five universal laws, ways in human relations. Those govern the relationship between ruler and minister, between the father and son, between the husband and wife, between the elder and younger brother, and those in the intercourse between friends. These five are the universal ways in the world. Doctrine of the Mean, 2079 Confucius. And now let's read teaching of Second Coming Messiah, Sun Moon. Heavenly law leads humanity to pursue goodness by setting up divine commandments and moral teaching. Without a doubt, heaven reveals them for our education. Heaven has prompted saints and sages to propound moral teaching for pitiful humanity immersed in fallen life, thus Confucius taught, and three bonds and the five moral disciplines in human relationship, and Moses introduced the Ten Commandments. Numerous people on the spiritual path toiled to establish these ways of life. From now on, we have to recognize and abide the three immutable laws. The first law, do not defile the blood lineage, even at the point of death. The blessed blood lineage that has been bequeathed through God's love and life must not be contaminated by actions immersed in the habitual patterns of the fallen world. Can you abide by this rule? All couples, even if your spouse is deceased, must pledge today that you will not defile your lineage. The second law, do not infringe upon human rights. Whether female or male, black or white, everyone is equal. One must not discriminate or violate human rights. For example, by dismissing a person from his post out of wrong motivation. The person that practices true love, honoring human rights in the correct way, living for the sake of others, is the mainstream. The creation of heaven and earth began from that point. Whoever commits an act that dilutes or squanders this main current of thought is not to be tolerated. Violating of this is the second of all sins. Yeah, so interesting. If all countries will live one for others, there will not so much problem in the world today. Okay, so Messiah, second comment said that third law, refrain from stealing money or misusing public funds for selfish purposes. For example, if you are entrusted with a public mission but slack off and leave your post, then you stay in an expensive hotel is a violation of this law. It is destroying the public environment. It is something as fearful as misappropriating national assets. People who live this way can never be successful no matter how hard they try. Even if they play hard, they if they pray hard, their prayers will not reach God. 70% of the people in jail are there because they violated these commandments. If you are imprisoned, you will see it is true. Human rights infringement and lineage violation are problems that concern men and women. Then come the money problem. What the first law? Keep your purity. Second, don't abuse human rights. Third, don't misuse public money. On this historic day, I declare that keeping these laws is absolutely necessary to maintain the sovereign power and the kingship of heaven and to stand before it as a people and as a parents, wife, children, and brothers and sisters. Therefore, you cannot neglect your older brother. You cannot neglect your younger brother merely because he is handicapped. In the secular world, people may not care, but we cannot neglect in-laws or relatives. If you who graduate from university neglect those who only completed high school, it is a sin. These are violation of human rights. You should live a good life. Yes. Can you live a good life by yourself? No. You should live with others, with an environment governed by God official laws. With whom should you live to be living a good life? The answer is simple. You should live good relationship between parents and children, between husband and wife, and among siblings. When you are exemplary to one another, it can be called a good life. If you are not a good example, you are not living a good life. Live a good life by being exemplary in front of your parents, your spouse, and your children. Even if you are accused as a traitor and executed in the public view, if you keep these commandments, absolutely your family will belong to the heavenly royal family that possess eternal freedom, unity, and liberation. I want you to remember this clearly. Keep it as a motto, the motto of the third millennium: pure lineage, equality of human rights, and guarding public assets. Do not be a thief. What is next? Be an example. Be an exemplary parent, exemplary spouse, exemplary child, and exemplary sibling. If you from such a family, people in your neighborhood will say, we should follow this person. I want to live with him. And that person is surely a citizen of kingdom of heaven, and heaven will remember that family forever. I explained to you on this historic day of the coronation ceremony of God's kingship, the three most important things that humankind must uphold and by which you can be truly liberated in your family and in your nation. I hope you can remember this content and keep them as the goals of your life. Couples might never fall. If they do, it is a serious problem. I cannot emphasize this enough. Next, you should love human beings. Third, you should be careful not to misuse public funds. Matters of heart, relationship with human beings and with material are very important. When the heavenly constitution is installed, this will be its first provisions. So interesting, brothers and sisters. And now let's read from my book, God's Global Trends, the chapter God's Fortune. For sure, in there exists so-called heavenly fortune with what God leads his providence. Therefore, everything that is in accordance with heavenly fortune and divine principle are developing good and last. This is the reason that big companies, countries, and even civilizations with broke divine principle are disappearing, and those who follow divine principle prosper during the time and last. As we review the history, we discover that there are three stages of human development. First, there was the natural central era, a time when instinctual feeling, materialism, and closeness to animals and the things of creation were predominant. Next came a human-centered era when people, knowledge, feeling, and emotions took precedence and dominated the world. After this transitional era of preparation, humankind entered the new era in which people could rid themselves of their bad nature, return to their original selves, and live as one united family where they attend God as their Father. Thus now begins an God-centered era, the final stage in which human beings who know and feel God's heart follow the path of living for the sake of others, finishing building God's original blueprint of humankind, heavenly kingdom, peaceful world. This is, brothers and sisters, very inspirational readings for today. Please keep them, as Messiah said, as a goals for the life. And let's do it practice daily in our life, in our family, communities, city, country, and the world. So important one day. Countries will live one for others. They will not argue so much as they are doing now. And if they live with each other, there was much less problem. That's all for today. Please like the video if you like it, or if you don't like it, push the button and send you comments. It's very important. Please write your comments what you think about this and how the world could apply it in their governance. Have a great day. Make morning exercise and see you tomorrow, same time. For any question, contact me. All the best, yours, Nikolai Servala.